Okay, so Joker, If All You Gotta Do, is now on a streaming platform. I remember when I watched Joker 2 for the first time in theaters, I was like, wow, that was not the movie I was expecting to watch at all. And part of me was a little set off, but at the same time, I took a couple steps back. And I also understood that if we were going to get the expected movie, Joker meets Harley, and they just go on a huge rampage, I really just don't think that it would be as memorable as it is, because I am a huge fan of the first Joker movie. It had a lot of good political commentary about like class structures and everything. It had a really good commentary on mental health and how the health industry is really, kind of run for people who need it. Like that part where they say they're closing down their sector and he can't get his medications anymore. That part really hit hard for me. If you've ever had to deal with that, you know what it's like. It is what it is, So that movie struck a lot of notes. It was very emotionally moving. And I think we could all, at the end of the day, relate to what it's like to be frustrated to the point where you feel like a clown. You just feel like you're not heard. You feel like you're not taken serious, and you have some really serious issues that you want to get fixed. No one's helping you. I think we've all been down that road. In fact, it became apparent where we were all kind of dressing up in clown makeup and dressing as the Joker and cosplaying as the Joker, mainly the Joaquin Phoenix version. And you want to know something? I still stand by and empathize with the character of Arthur Fleck, and I still, remember the community, as twisted as it was, that movie kind of gave a lot of people. And even me, I bought a Joker suit myself. I was a huge fan of the first film, don't get me wrong. But the thing that was more amusing to me as the second Joker came out, not just the movie itself, but I honestly believe that the cultural wave of hating on it was just as universal, because although I understand why people didn't like the movie, how it ended, how everything kind of fell apart at the end, I felt like there were a lot of reasonable voices that still gave what I kind of thought I saw and kind of reassured me that, okay, there were parts of the movie that I actually appreciated. And I honestly, it's not the movie I expected. I appreciated it like for what it was. Now, obviously, I wasn't going to go back to the movie and spend more money watching it. I already have a streaming platform that now streams it, and I was waiting so I could see it for free. I'm not spending any more money on it. Just a little bit of time to bring you this video because I want to view this movie for a second time, but give you my honest, authentic opinion. And the only reason I say that, popular consensus is to just hate on this movie. No nuance, no explanations. It's just a bad movie, And I've seen that sometimes with some of the comments where someone tries to point something out, and it's like, no, it's a bad movie. If you have anything else to say, grr, angry mob, And I feel like, I don't want to lose our humanity or our sense or anything like that, or over a movie, something that, we're very blessed to have in our first world society, But a lot of it just kind of seemed disingenuous to me, the hatred for it. And there's two examples. One person I really can't name, but it was just some smaller YouTuber who had a short where he was regurgitating the popular census and he was claiming that he saw the movie, but clearly he didn't, because if like the ending movie, the deed at the end that gets done to Arthur Fleck, the actor that did it, it really wasn't the actor he was saying it was. In fact, that actor gets offed in a really awful way, and the actual actor was Connor's story. So a lot of people, were just regurgitating and saying what the internet wanted to hear, to the point where it's like, okay, you're not even watching the movie or formulating your own opinion. You're going on with popular consensus. Now, one I can name was Tim Dillon. He's a conservative commentator or something like that on YouTube. I try not to get into politics too much I think that it's all just, a mess at this point. But honestly, as a person and knowing his background before he became a talk show host, the guy seems like someone who gets on in my honest opinion, that is my opinion, he seems like the kind of guy who gets on the camera to say what people want to say, so he gets clout, views, fame, all that stuff. He just seems like a massive opportunist, because I didn't even realize he was in this movie until he pointed it out. And then what happened was he collected the check, and then he got the cameo, and then he goes and completely just goes on a tour. If you look at all of his videos and all of his Joe Rogan Experience appearances and everything like that. He just wants to, say it's like the worst movie ever, but it's like, dude, you collected the check and everything like that. And he might say that in a video or something. I can't really listen to the guy for too long, right? No offense to conservative YouTube. It's like, look, I don't have beef with anybody, on that structure, but it's just like, as a person, the guy seemed very insincere about it, and it seemed like he was just going on with a popular narrative. So what I'm going to do, just go back, watch the thing, and give my honest thing now that the adrenaline has died down, and I could really give a well thought out thing of what I liked and didn't like. But I'll see you when the movie's over. All right, first, front page. So front page, Joker Folie à Deux on Max. Let's go. All right, so as you can see, I just watched the movie, and I am back for part 2 on my thoughts. Now, I'm going to clear what I didn't like. I thought the musical numbers could drag on a little bit. Sometimes I got, invested in it, but at the same time, sometimes I felt like it just popped in out of nowhere. So when people are talking about how it felt like they were just fillers of the script and just clunky writing, the script did seem very, very, clunky, extremely. But you want to know something? I enjoyed the performances. And now that I've had a second look via streaming service, I can now watch the movie with a different perspective to the point where it actually makes a lot more sense. There's a lot of the things that I was watching of other reviewers were bringing up a very interesting point. Do you really care about Arthur Fleck, the character, or do you care about the Joker? Do you care about living vicariously through this revenge fantasy because, society has treated you wrong, right? And, every now and again, and we do this with social media influencers all the time, someone comes along and tells us all the talking points that we want to hear. We cling to them. We put them on a pedestal. I have seen it multiple times, but then when they start changing or they start, and eventually they do, they start doing things that are against, quote unquote, the idea, people start to turn on them really fast. And, it happens. I think that you attract a specific demographic. And I think that though some people can change their mind and look at things with a few nuance, you'll find that there's just as many people who are dug into their ways. And the whole ending sequence, with the courtroom invasion where they save him and he just doesn't want to be around it. And he sees what it is, how they're saving him so that he could be Joker and how they love him. It really is in the dialogue, and it kind of cuts a whole lot deeper, and it adds a lot more tragedy to Arthur Fleck's story. Honestly, I think I just feel worse for him as time bleeds on in this movie. It's actually a super sad story looking back now that I could watch the first movie knowing where it's going to lead to. And it just, the whole story of Arthur Fleck is super tragic. And, although, Lee or Harley Quinn, as, we're talking about, this was not the ideal Harley Quinn that we were getting, but the whole dynamic between them was different throughout the movie. So obviously this is Todd Phillips' rendition of the character. It obviously wasn't comic book accurate. There were some Batman references in there here and there, like the whole Harvey Dent thing and the Two-Face at the end. It seemed like, he was trying to paint it in a little bit. It didn't fit as well as the first movie did. But I'm very convinced now that I think the joke was on us, the audience, because how many people completely turned on this franchise and Todd Phillips and Joaquin Phoenix the second it stopped being a film that people were expecting, or the film was, saying something that people wanted to hear, or just going to be mayhem for people to enjoy. And yeah, those movies are out there. We have movies like Hardcore Henry, which I haven't seen though, and I might be missing something in that script. But if you look at it, it's a lot of carnage. It's a lot of just violence at the end of the day. So we have those out there. So honestly, I didn't really feel like too much of a need for, some sort of mayhem film, because we've had so many renditions of the Joker be a more comic book accurate version of the Joker. We have the Arkham games. I think that's one of the most accurate renditions to the actual Joker. But yeah, you know what? Arthur Fleck was not the Joker at the end of the movie, and I don't think he wanted to be. I think that if he actually had, like the Joker said, the world's only as good as the world allows them to be. If Arthur Fleck was dealt a different hand in life, he probably would turn out way different, and he would probably be in a relationship with someone who actually loves Arthur, not someone like Lee, who is obviously there because she was bored, trying to manipulate him. But honestly, it also hit a high note, though, too, and not to be too personal, but I kind of know what that's like. I'm assuming everybody here has been in a relationship. You have that high moment where you're in the honeymoon phase, but after you look past all the things that make your partner beautiful, you start to see the negatives. And it's a test of, can I deal with the negatives to the point where I don't have to walk away? And you realize that that's how a lot of breakups happen. But where here, it's like a lot of people ask to be these internet celebrities or these e-celebs or, these sports car driving Jake Paul-like figures. But here's the thing you got to ask yourself when you're in their world. Because I know, it's kind of comparing apples and oranges, but they're both fruit, just different tastes, I guess you could say. How many of those figureheads or anyone you're a fan of, do you think that they don't look over their shoulder and wonder, does this person love me for the material stuff I could provide, or do they actually know the true version of me? Because I think this movie paints a very interesting perspective on the price of fame, and something that we could all kind of understand. And yeah, no, it's like, if you see someone who is of high status, would you be looking at that person the same way if they didn't do all those amazing things? If you wanted to just get to know the personal version of them that makes them them before all the fame and the status and the money came along. And I know Joker didn't have status or anything like that, he had status, but he didn't have money. He wasn't wealthy. He wasn't the crown prince of crime. Where did my tongue go? But it just shows me that, sometimes we fall in love with the idea of someone or what they're providing or their status or their following, and we're not actually wondering what is actually in the more personal version that they don't show out there, because we see that there's a lot of channels out there that go under the radar of people who are actually showing their authentic selves because they believe that that's what they want to show. And I think that everybody does have a story, and I don't want to devalue it, but a lot of people sleep on those because it's not entertaining for them. They want to be entertained at the end of the day, and they want to take nonsense over something that makes you think deep. I could go on, but it would just be rehashing what I've already just dished out. But I do want to say and conclude this right now, I actually have an appreciation for this movie. This is not a perfect movie. It's not my all-time favorite. But going from Joker 1 to Joker 2, seeing the audience reaction, the audience fight with it, people just keep coming after it online, it really has been an experience when it goes beyond looking at a movie. It actually has kind of been in the real world or the digital world or wherever, where it's kind of bled over. Because I've had conversations with people who saw the same thing, where it's like, you know what? I don't think it was the worst thing that came out ever. We kind of saw, something that a lot of people didn't refuse to see because it wasn't, what they wanted to hear. And this was more of a social experiment that I was really happy to see, as uncomfortable as it was when it started out. But I think that just kind of shows that in life, real kind of change and growth is, it is uncomfortable. And, I think I did learn something very valuable from watching this franchise kind of take a 180 turn and completely spit in its audience faces, which it actually kind of did. But that's also the kind of thing that Joker would. But also at the end of the day, if you resonated with Arthur Fleck at the end of the day, I understand. We get frustrated, we get mad, we have so much in life that goes down until we can't take it. We start lashing out. But I think that's a lot of DC characters, as you see, more than just the Joker. Now, the Joker obviously has a tragic past. Batman has a tragic past. Nightwing has a tragic past. Red Hood, tragic past. But everybody does kind of have their story. And, picture a Batman universe where everybody's the Joker. It would get kind of old really fast. And I think that there just needs to be one Joker. And that's probably someone more along the lines of like Heath Ledger's version, because that is someone who doesn't show remorse. Arthur Fleck had remorse. And I think a lot of people in the real world actually show a lot of remorse too. But it's like if you were to put yourself in Batman, the universe, and say, oh, well, I have some trauma, that must make me the Joker. There was like a machine that actually sorted you out, honestly. It might make you Dick Grayson, or it might make you Bruce Wayne, or it might make you Barbara Gordon. Who knows? There's a lot of different comic book characters, and they all have tragic pasts. It's about what you do with that energy. And I'm glad I was able to look at this again, because I just wanted to give a fresher take, something that's not as emotionally driven, just more logical. But you know what? I gotta say, I actually kind of still do appreciate what I got, because it showed me something beyond just cinema. But that's what I gotta say. I love what it had to say. Peace out. And I'm sorry if I didn't tell you guys exactly what you wanted to hear, but you know what? This is my video. I got to be honest and authentic. I can't get mad at people for putting up a rouge and, saying what they think people will want to hear and then do the exact same thing. I got to be my honest, authentic self, because, that's just who I am. I can't put on a rouge or just say what you want to hear. This is just me viewing it through my eyes, but I appreciate you guys for taking the time to watch and viewing what I had to say, as cookie cutter as it might be, or as much of this format has already been done. But I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.